Napoleon Hill once said, "Riches begin with a state of mind, with a definite purpose and little to no excuses." Today we're going to break that down together. Have you ever felt like, no matter how hard you work, you just can't seem to get ahead? You see people around you living better, traveling, investing, while you feel stuck in the same place. And maybe you tell yourself things like, "It's the system's fault," or "I just wasn't lucky," or "I wasn't born into the right family." But here's the harsh truth. It's not your situation that's holding you back. It's your mindset. And if you stick around until the end, you'll understand exactly why the rich keep getting richer, and why the poor stay trapped in the same cycle. One morning, you wake up. Your phone buzzes. Bank notification. Your paycheck just came in. Without even realizing it, you open your apps. A little online shopping, a dinner this weekend, a new subscription, those sneakers you saw on TikTok. 3 days later, your account is almost empty. You tell yourself, "It's fine, next month I'll be more careful." But next month, you do the same thing again. Meanwhile, someone else, maybe living in the same city, earning the same salary, does something different. They take a portion of that same money and set it aside. They don't spend it, they invest it. Not necessarily in stocks or real estate, sometimes just in a book, a course, or an idea. And little by little, what they learn helps them earn more, while you keep running in circles, chasing the next paycheck. That's where we see the first big difference between the poor and the rich. Their vision of money. A poor person sees money as an end, something to spend, to get pleasure, to fill a void. They receive $100 and think, "What can I buy with this?" A rich person receives the same $100 and asks, "How can I turn this into $200? Look around. How many people spend their entire paycheck on clothes, phones, parties, and complain about being broke halfway through the month? And how many actually put aside even 10% to invest or learn a skill? That difference creates two parallel worlds, one that chases instant pleasure, and another that builds long-term freedom. Warren Buffett said it best, "If you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you'll work until you die." And that's exactly it. The rich see money as a tool, not a toy. It's a weapon to create freedom, not something to waste. The difference isn't visible right away. But in 5, 10, or 20 years, it becomes clear between the one who endures life and the one who controls it. Imagine two childhood friends. They grew up in the same neighborhood, played on the same streets, shared the same dreams. One of them, let's call him Amadou, was always great in school. He followed the classic path. Good grades, good diplomas, a stable job at a respectable company. The other one, Karim, never really liked school. He dropped out early, struggled for a while, and then one day, he started selling products online. He began learning on YouTube, reading books about business and investing. 10 years later, Amadou still has his fixed salary. He's got debts, loans, and the constant stress of making it to the end of the month. Karim, on the other hand, might not have a single degree, but he's learned how money works, how to make it move smartly. And today he's financially free. So, why? How does the one who studied the most end up broke, while the one who dropped out early becomes independent? The answer is simple. The system doesn't teach you how to be free. It teaches you how to be an employee. In school, they teach you how to work for money, but never how to make money work for you. They teach you how to seek security, not freedom. They'll explain equations and grammar rules, but never how to manage your budget, invest, or build a source of income. The result? Millions of people graduate with diplomas, but without financial education. They know how to solve complex math problems, but not how to avoid being broke by the end of the month. A poor person says, "I have a degree, so I'm safe." A rich person says, "I have a skill, so I'm free." And that's where everything changes. Because what you learn in school helps you earn money. But what you learn outside of school helps you keep it and multiply it. Robert Kiyosaki explained it perfectly in Rich Dad, Poor Dad. The poor dad said, "Go to school, get a good job." The rich dad said, "Learn how money works and make it work for you." That simple difference in education creates two completely opposite lives. One works to pay the bills, the other learns to make his investments pay the bills. So ask yourself this: are you spending your time learning how to work? Or are you learning how to become free? Imagine someone who has an idea, a simple yet powerful idea, a product to launch, a small store to open, a course to sell, a project they feel deep inside. They tell their friends, their family, and the first thing they hear is, "Be careful. What if it doesn't work? You're going to lose your money." So they start to doubt. They hesitate. And eventually, they do nothing. A few years later, they see someone else launch that exact same idea, succeed with it, and make a living from it. And they think, that could have been me. But it wasn't, because of fear. Fear is what paralyzes most people. The fear of losing, the fear of failing, the fear of what others might think. And that fear is what separates those who stay stuck from those who move forward anyway. A poor person sees risk as something to avoid. A rich person sees risk as something to understand. Look at the stories of successful entrepreneurs. Most of them started small. They failed, started over, learned, lost, then won. But they dared, because they knew one thing. The real risk isn't trying and losing. It's never trying at all. Warren Buffett says it often. Risk comes from not knowing what you're doing. In other words, fear isn't the real problem. Ignorance is. A poor person says, "I don't want to risk losing everything." A rich person says, "How can I learn to master risk?" The poor stop at the danger. The rich stop at the strategy. Think of Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, or even your neighbor who started a small business. They all felt fear, but the difference is they acted despite the fear. And if you feel that fear right now, that's actually a good sign. It means you're stepping out of your comfort zone, and that's exactly where growth begins. Jeff Bezos once said, "I knew that if I failed, I wouldn't regret it. But I knew the one thing I would regret was not trying." So ask yourself, would you rather live with the fear of losing, or with the regret of never having tried? We often underestimate how much our mindset can either trap us or set us free. Imagine two people living the exact same situation, same salary, same environment, same struggles. One says, "It's impossible, I'll never make it." The other says, "I don't know how yet, but I'll find a way." And right there, in that very moment, their lives take two completely different paths, because everything starts in your mind. A poor person says, "I can't." A rich person says, "How can I?" That one simple question changes everything. When you say "I can't," your brain shuts down, it turns off the light. But when you say, "How can I?" your brain lights up. It switches into solution mode. Let's take a simple example. A poor person says, "I can't buy a house." A rich person says, "How can I create the income to buy one?" Same problem, two completely different realities. And you know what's crazy? Most rich people aren't smarter or luckier. They just think differently. They focus on possibilities, not limitations. They see obstacles as lessons, not walls. Look around you. How many people give up at the first difficulty, while others, with fewer resources, keep pushing until they make it? That's not luck, that's mindset. Tony Robbins once said, "The only limit to your impact is your imagination and commitment." And that's exactly it. The difference between the one who succeeds and the one who gives up isn't strength or intelligence, it's perseverance and the belief that change is possible. Henry Ford said it best: "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right." So if you want your life to change, start by changing your inner dialogue. Replace "I can't" with "How can I?" And little by little your thoughts will turn into actions, and your actions will create your new reality. Take a close look at your day. Not yesterday, not the day you dream about, the one you're actually living. Because your life today is simply the result of what you do every single day. Let's take two people again. The first one wakes up, grabs their phone, scrolls through social media, checks what everyone else is doing. They go to work complaining, come home tired, watch Netflix, and fall asleep saying, "Tomorrow, I'll change." But tomorrow looks exactly the same. The second person wakes up a little earlier. They read a few pages of a book. They write down their goals. They listen to something inspiring or learn a new skill. And day by day, those small actions add up. A year later, their life is completely different. You see, the difference between these two people isn't visible right away. But over time, habits either build you or break you. James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, said, "You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems." In other words, it's not the big decisions that transform you, it's the small actions you repeat every day. A poor person lives by emotions. A rich person lives by discipline. The poor say, "I don't have time to read." The rich make time, even 10 minutes a day. The poor say, "I'm too tired to learn." The rich say, "I'm tired, but if I don't learn, I'll stay tired for the rest of my life." It's that simple and that brutal. Rich people don't have more hours in a day. They just use their hours with more intention. Jim Rohn said it perfectly. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. And that's the truth. You don't need to change everything overnight. You just need to start small. Read 10 pages, save $5, take one more step than you did yesterday. Because those tiny actions, repeated day after day, become an invisible force. And one day you'll look back and realize it wasn't the big moments that changed your life, but the small decisions you made when no one was watching. Conclusion: the choice. So now, ask yourself a real question. Do you want to keep living the same way? Complaining about the system, about others, about your situation? Or do you want to start becoming the richer version of yourself? Remember this: it's not money that makes you rich. It's your vision, your knowledge, your courage, and your mindset. If you change the way you think, your bank account will eventually follow. Because wealth doesn't start in your pockets. It starts in your mind.